request to do a video comparing Cosmic Shimmer Gilding Polish with Tonic Studios Nuvo Embellishment Mousse. So I thought I would go ahead and try and show the differences between the two. So I just quickly made this swatch, trying to match the colours between the two different brands to try and show as true a comparison as possible. So we've got Graphite Cosmic Shimmer Gilding Polish with Black Ash Nuvo Mousse. You can see that I would say that the mica particles in the gilding polish are maybe finer, or maybe they have more of a mix of colours, because they seem to be, I don't know, very tiny little glistens. You can't really see it on camera, it's really annoying. But anyway, and then so I compared Purple Paradise with Royal Aubergine, quite similar colours, Ocean Teal with Pacific Teal, Pearl Luster with Pure Platinum, and Gold Treasure with Indian Gold. And I thought I'd do it, I just put these on with a palette knife to show the texture. You can get texture with both, but the Nuvo Mousse is designed to give the texture, whereas the gilding polish is more designed to be used on a flat surface really, or to pick out the detail on embossed cardstock. So, but you can get the texture with both of them. So I thought I'd do this one so you can see them dried, and then I'm going to do a little quick example showing how to use them through a stencil, both thinly and thickly, if that makes sense. So I'm going to chop this in half, and I think I'm going to go with the Ocean Teal and Pacific Teal colours. So when I'm applying it thinly through a stencil, I like to use a piece of cut and dry foam to apply it. The gilding polish comes with an applicator sponge on the top. However, when you're, that's really crusty, I should wash that. But you could use this sponge, but if you're going through an intricate stencil, sometimes the sponge would get stuck and it ends up ripping it like this, like my bit of cut and dry foam. So I wouldn't want to ruin this applicator, because this is great for going over the top of embossed card just to pick up the raised detail. So that's my preference. I prefer just to use a piece of cut and dry foam. And yeah, you can wash this between uses, literally just soak it in water and all of this will come out. It might still be stained, but all the crusty stuff will come out, and then you just want to leave it for a day or two just to dry out completely, and then just put it back in the pot. So, well, actually I might show you the, got crusty bits on there now, the differences in the texture of them as well. So the gilding polish, I'd say, is more jelly-like. I don't know if you can really tell when I poke it. It's kind of, you've really got to cut through the surface. It's very squidgy and like jelly. And then the Nuvo Mousse, it's more crumbly. Like you can see at the sides, it's crumbly because there's cracks in it. But it's more like a smooth thing. It's not, well, it's more crumbly than jelly-like, but they're both really easy to get out of the pot. So, while I've got my palette knife out, I might as well show you thickly through a stencil. So, let's find a stencil. Should have got one prepared. I'll just go with this one. So we'll do the Nuvo Mousse first. So when you're using the Nuvo Mousse through a stencil to get a thick raised thing, I suggest smushing some up like this, maybe wiping it off the side and just making it more into a creamy texture. You seem to get a better result that way. And then just simply spread it through. I won't do too much of a swatch because I don't want to waste too much. So that's the Pacific Teal Nuvo Embellishment Mousse. And then for the gilding polish, it's not designed to be used thickly through a stencil, so this might bleed underneath, but we'll see what happens. And the gilding polish does seem to stain your stencils more, I'd say, as well. A bit more. Okay. So take this off, and you do want to wash this fairly quickly. I just use a baby wipe, and it's really quick and easy to clean off. I just go one side and then go through the other side, and then dry it with some paper towel. There we go. So that's clean. So here's the two differences. It didn't splodge, so it does work thickly. I just don't tend to use it thickly because, I don't know, I always tend to plump for the Nuvo Mousse if I want to do something thick through the stencil. But they're the two different looks. You can kind of see that, I don't know, the mica is kind of more prominent in the gilding polish. I don't think it... the difference is about the same really when it's dry or wet, but I can't really explain it. It's like it's got smaller mica particles, or maybe more mica, I don't know. But anyway, there's the two examples of it using it thickly through a stencil, and now I'll do a quick example of using it flat through. I'll just use the same stencil. So if we go with gilding polish first. Now for the gilding polish, I probably do it the same for both, but get a little bit on the sponge, just work it into the sponge a bit, and then you're literally just scraping it over. And you do want to go in multiple directions. Oh, that's really racking up the sponge. But you do want to go multiple directions to get it right up against the edge of the design, and that is probably why the sponge gets so messed up, but that's fine. Okay, that's good. Then go with the Nuvo Mousse. Yes, again, you just want to kind of work it into the sponge if you can. I think this had acrylic paint on it before, not Nuvo Mousse. And so with the Nuvo Mousse, because it's a thicker product anyway, that is more designed to be used as like a 3D texture paste, it does kind of build up at the edge of the design. Let's just quickly wash this. Yeah, so this is the gilding polish, very shiny again, and the Nuvo Mousse is kind of built up against the edge a bit. And this Pacific Teal, actually, it's sort of got more of a greeny base and a bluey mica. It's a bit of a mix of the two colours. So I'm going to let that sit for a little bit and then I'll come back and polish it. Because if you just buff it with a piece of dry kitchen roll, it buffs up the shine really nicely. But I just thought I could also show you how to use them in a watercolour-y capacity as well, because I do like to do that, or I like to splat. So I'll show you the splats too, because they're all my favourite techniques to use with this. So we'll put a little bit of gilding polish and a little bit of Nuvo Mousse. So both of them work for watercolouring, which is good, and they work great with the Nuvo water brush as well. So squeeze out a little bit of water and mix it up. I'll do the gilding polish on this side again. Oh, lovely mica packed. Okay, then clean that out. Mix up the mousse. You see the green is coming through now from this colour. There is a really, I suppose it's teal, so it is a mix of a blue and green colour. I was going to use purple for the demonstration, but my camera doesn't pick up purple very well, which is really annoying because it's my favourite colour. Anyway, so there we have them both used just as watercolour. I'll come back and show all of them at the end, I think, as well. But my other favourite way of using them that you've probably seen me use quite a lot is paintbrush. Add a bit more water on them this time. The mousse, I find it's better to mix the mousse into the water with a palette knife, because it's that drier consistency, so it's much easier to mix it in with the palette knife. I might as well do it with this one too. You don't get the clumps in your paintbrush then, which is good. Okay, so that's the Pacific teal on this side. I'm contaminating them a little bit, but I don't think that matters too much. It's just showing the difference between the two of them. So I'm keeping them all the same way round, so the Cosmic Shimmer Gilding Polish is on the left and the Nuvo Mousse is on the right. So that was splatting it, which is one of my favourite things. That's using it more 3D through the stencil. This one was using it flat through the stencil, and this one was using it as a watercolour. Now these have dried, we can just take a piece of dry kitchen roll and buff over them, and it sort of polishes up the finish. And you can do the same with the watercoloured ones as well. Okay, so this is the thickly through a stencil. And you can actually see now as it's drying, because the Nuvo on the right is made to be a 3D texture, it's kind of got a sharper edge from the edge of the stencil, whereas the gilding polish is more of a liquidy, gelatinousy kind of substance, so it's kind of actually beveled around a little bit. So that's that. Have they dry yet? I've been filming for 15 minutes and I did this at the beginning, and the Nuvo Mousse is practically dry, but the gilding polish is still quite wet, which makes sense because this is more of a moist substance to begin with. Okay, so that was that one. Then this is flat through the stencil, and look, now I've polished it. This is what I mean is the difference. It just looks like there's more mica or finer particles of mica in the gilding polish because it gives more of a metallic shine. Some of the other Nuvo colours do give more of a shine, but I still think gilding polish wins on that proper metallic-y shine front, which is why when I'm adding just a little bit of stenciling to a card, like in the background building video, which I think are called layered background, I like to use it through a stencil like that. And I always plump for gilding polish. So if I'm going flat through a stencil, I tend to go for gilding polish. But if I want to go 3D through a stencil, I usually go for the Nuvo Mousse. And then watercolouring either work nicely. You can see here there is more mica, but as I said before, some other colours do have more mica, and this one just kind of splits into more of a green base with the blue mica running through it, and it does depend how much of the product you've mixed up with your water as well, to the quantity of the mica that's in there. And then finally the splashes, although the gilding polish isn't dry yet. But again, you can see it seems more shimmery. But I do like using both. I like using both for splashes, both for watercolouring, but I do use both for both of these things, but if I'm going to do 3D, I plump for the Nuvo Mousse, and if I'm going to do flat, I plump for the gilding polish. So I hope this video helped to let you know the differences between Cosmic Shimmer Gilding Polish and Tonic Studios Nuvo Embellishment Mousse. And again, there's the comparison of a few of their colours. Okay, so thanks for watching. Bye.